Hello, juniors. So I know that you just finished reading Catcher in the Rye, and as we all know, Holden himself was expelled from Pensy Preparatory Academy, a very fancy boarding school for wealthy white boys. So what I have is a selection of books set in boarding schools that aren't just places like Pensy Preparatory Academy. And we have some fiction, we have some nonfiction, so I'm going to go ahead and jump right into it with a book that is set in a boarding school that could not be further from Pensy Preparatory Academy because it's actually set in a residential school. So if you don't know what a residential school is, beginning in around the 1840s and lasting all the way up through the 1990s, the governments in the US and Canada would take children from Indigenous and First Nations families and put them into schools that were intended to kill the Indian and the child and assimilate them into white culture. So these were obviously horrible places. This was part of a cultural genocide. The first book that I am recommending is a historical fiction book set in the 1960s called My Name Is Not Easy by Debby Dahl Edwardson, and it's actually based on the experiences that her husband had in a residential school. It's won a lot of awards, which you probably don't really care about. You want to know about the story, right? So this book focuses on Luke, who's a Nupiaq teen, and he's in this school called Sacred Heart School in Alaska with his brother Bunna. The story is told through multiple perspectives of other students at the schools because it's not just people from the Inupiaq tribe, it's students from a lot of different backgrounds. And unfortunately, at first, this means that there's a lot of conflict. They don't all get along. They bring their own prejudices to the school that is there to, take away their identities in the first place. But ultimately, they're all trying to survive this really awful, cruel, abusive place together. And as it's set in the 1960s, this is a time of a lot of social change. And ultimately, the students band together to protest their treatment at this school. So if you're interested in something that's really descriptive and emotionally intense, character-driven, like I said, there's multiple perspectives that we tell the story through, and it's very issue-oriented, this might be a good choice for you. My Name Is Not Easy by Debby Dahl Edwardson, some historical fiction. Now, if you know what a residential school is and you want more information, or you've never heard of it and you want more information, I also have a nonfiction book for you called UNeducation, a residential school graphic novel, Volume 1, by Jason Eaglespeaker. And this is actually based on the experiences of his family who went through and survived a residential school. His mother and all 8 of her siblings were sent to residential schools. As you can see, it's set up to look like it's in a spiral-bound notebook. So there are these really vivid illustrations throughout the book that look like they're like cut and literally taped or glued into a notebook. The version that I have here is, as you can see, the PG version. This just means that one chapter about sexual assault is omitted from this version. We do also have the full version in the library, and you're welcome to read that one as well. I just wanted to make sure that you know about this in case it's a topic that you're interested in, but that could be a trigger for you. So again, really gorgeously illustrated, real life experiences of his family presented in this really amazing graphic novel. Next up, I have something for those of you who might enjoy being horrified, but you don't really want so much real life, actual, factual horror, and you're more interested in like the genre horror, like Friday the 13th. So for you, I have Wilder Girls by Rory Powers, and this is a horror book. It's contemporary fiction, and with this one, we're back much closer to Pensy Preparatory Academy. This is set at the Raxter School for Girls, which is on its own island, and where they've been isolated for 18 months since the tox first appeared. Now, the tox is this mysterious thing that kills you if you're not lucky, and if you are lucky, you live, but you have these wild mutations. Like one girl has fins, another girl is covered in scales, a third girl has grown a second exterior spine, and none of them know why any of this is happening. What they do know is that every season there are flare-ups, and sometimes the flare-ups can be deadly. So this book focuses on 3 best friends, and when one of the best friends gets sent to the infirmary because she has a bad flare-up, the other 2 are desperate. They've been here for 18 months with no answers, and they decide they want to get some. So they're going to venture out into the woods surrounding the school, which are full of animals that have also been mutated by the tox, to try to figure out what the heck is going on. And they're willing to do whatever it takes, even if it means bringing the whole school down with them. So if you're interested in a book with really haunting, suspenseful setting and writing, relatable, well-developed LGBTQ characters. This might be a book that you are interested in. Wilder Girls by Rory Power. Obviously, there's an element of mystery in this one because they're trying to figure out what the tox is, but if you're interested in more of a straight-up mystery, no horror, I have Truly Devious by Maureen Johnson. So this is contemporary fiction, and it features Stevie Bell, who is kind of a genius and totally obsessed with true crime. So it is a dream come true when she gets into the Ellingham Academy, which has this famous cold case related to its founder and his family. Nobody has ever solved it, and Stevie thinks she's going to be the one to do it. The problem is, shortly after Stevie arrives, one of her classmates dies under mysterious circumstances, and even though other people decide it's an accident, Stevie's not so sure, and it seems like the crimes of the past might have something to do with the mystery of the present. Or maybe she's just seeing things? It's hard to tell. Stevie herself does have an anxiety disorder, and she has panic attacks, and it does not stop her detecting. She has great friends, quirky personality, and this is pretty fast-paced. It's the first in a trilogy, so if that sounds interesting to you, there's 2 more books that come after this. So obviously, a lot here that is not at all like Pensy Preparatory Academy, and a few things that might have some commonalities, but very different stories. So I hope that those sound interesting to you, and if they do, I hope to see you in the library to check them out.